Okay, looking at chapter 12 now, just making sure my thing is recording. We're looking at functions, and functions are basically the building blocks of JavaScript programs, and they help us to keep from having to repeat ourselves, and it makes our programs neater and more flexible. And so basically functions are programs inside of programs. They're great at handling tasks that may be required multiple times by different parts of a program. So there's some built-in functions that we've been using in the previous chapters, such as the getElementById, toString, addEventListener. And when a function is part of an object, we call it a method, but it is still a function. And then we can make custom functions to do things with our web pages and our JavaScript. So first we started off with a little function that gives us a smiley face. Function smiley text. Smiley it the text. Okay, so basically, and alert is another type of function. So functions are made up of a few things. When we write a function, that's called defining it. So here we're defining our function, including the variable, the text. And here we're using the function keyword followed by the name of the function instead of this older way, the new technique it says, but it's less streamlined than declaring the function first and then giving it a name, giving the function a head. So this is the function head. It includes the function keyword, the name of the function, and the parentheses. And so underneath it is called the function body. And that gives us our function the ability to do things. So here we've made it just return whatever the text is that we're going to insert with the smiley face. The text plus equals, so that will add that to the text function and it will return the text. So as you can see, hi there we go, it popped up with an alert as well.
Yeah.
And so when we call a function, that means running a code within a function body. We simply write the name of the function followed by parentheses. And so then we move on to define parameters, and these are values that can be included between the parentheses when a function is called. To define a parameter, simply give the parameter a name and put it between the parentheses in the function definition. We can also pass arguments, and that means when we call a function using a value between the parentheses, it's called passing an argument. When we define a function, the values between the parentheses are called parameters. When passing values into a function, they're called arguments. When you pass an argument into a function, the function automatically creates a new variable with the name of the parameter and gives it the value of the argument that you've passed. And to the next important part, returning a value. When you call a function and optionally pass it an argument, the function starts doing what it was written to do. After the function completes its task, it stops running and produces a value. The value that a function produces when it finishes running is called its return value. You can set what the return value is by using the return statement. For example, here, the following function will always return the number 3000. Here, function, what's the number? Return 3000. And so to find out or use the return value of a function, you can call the function as part of an operation. So here's our operation, let the total. We're defining this variable, the total equals this function, what's the number, plus 80. Console log the total, we should have 3080. 3080. If we don't specify a return value for a function, the function will return undefined. So now that we know the basics of functions, we wrote a game called Function Junction, and the goal is to get the train as far along a track as quickly as possible possible without it crashing at the end of the track. So we went to Jay's Fiddle and we got the code there. And we did make a CSS pane. We didn't go into a lot of detail of it, but it basically gives the HTML its color and its all its details and everything. Otherwise, it looks very, very boring. Let's just uncontrol those, and then we can have a look at what our second. There we go. That's what it looks like with all of our CSS on it as well.
Yeah.
And for the CSS, we're using all ID selectors, which begin with the hash sign. And we can control these elements and change how the game looks. And then we went on to write the function junction JavaScript. And we're going to go through here. So the first thing we do is to create these three variables. So underneath, the first comment we wrote is the train speed, train position, and animation. The next instruction says to listen for click events on the train. So this means adding an add event listener function to attach a click event handler to the element with an ID that is equal to train. So here, let train equal document.get element by ID train. And what we want to do with that is add an event listener so that every time we click on it, it will use the speed up function. Next, we need to add an event listener to the stop button. Code is similar to the last statement. So we define the variable let stop button equals get element by ID stop button. So that's what we want on our HTML. We're grabbing that, and then we're making it so that every time we click on it, it will run the function stop train. And then we went on to define what the speed up function is. And so the first thing it needs to do is to check whether the train is already going at top speed. So there we say if train speed is greater than 10. And so this code tests the value of the train speed variable. If it's greater than 10, the train will still go faster. The trains can still go faster. So the next line subtracts 10 from the value of train speed. So the speed of the animation is determined by the second parameter of set interval, which is how long to wait in milliseconds between steps in the animation. So a smaller number means that there will be less time between steps, which will make the train move faster. Next thing to do is inside the speed up function to restart the loop that does the animation but with the new speed. And so thus we say clear interval with animation. Animation is equal to set interval with the frame, that's the amount of time, and train speed, which is our variable over there. And then we created a frame function. And so this is similar to the one we used with Douglas, the JavaScript robot, but we made a few adjustments. And we firstly modified the frame so that the train position is relative to where we put it into our HTML. But it also increases the value of train position variable. It then updates the location of the train according to the current value of train position. After the train has been moved, it makes a call to another function called check position and passes it the current position variable. So now let's take a look at check position. And we updated the following. So that will basically accept a single argument, which is current position. It tests whether current position is equal to 260, because 260 pixels is the distance from the left edge of the track that we determined to be the point where the train crashes. And now we finally move to stop train, and this runs when the stop button is clicked. It first tests to make sure that the train hasn't already crashed by comparing the train position with the end of the line number, which is 260 in this case. So if we look at our code here, and our train should start. Yay! And there it goes. Stop, it stops. It starts, it starts. And it should go all the way and then say crashed. It's very slow. There, crashed. Okay, thank you so much.